It says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Not sure if it worked, but I'm not sure if it worked. Why did it bring me back to my page?
You're not sure of what?
If it worked, if it's on the live or not. It says it, but I don't know why it brought me back to my page.
I got a notification saying that we're live.
Okay. Okay. Yep. It says I'm live. Perfect. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in on behalf of Canisius College Academic Talent Search. Our first webinar, and this is going to be a series of webinars. And we really just want to start a conversation with our students and, other students too that may want to be a part of the conversation. We just want to start leading the conversation on basically life as a student and making that transition from, high school to college, and also some of the struggles that students of minorities, and especially first generation students and students of color may have to deal with. So today we're going to be talking about choices. Let me just see something to make sure we're good. Okay. So I just want to start this out with a little video, and it just is going to break down, basically choices throughout a life. And on the left side is going to be the bad choices, quote unquote, and the one on the right is going to be the good choices. So enjoy. On the left, he's probably on some social media, kicking it. How many times have we said, oh, I'm going to the gym? I'll go tomorrow. Socializing with friends or going back to work. Choice. See, on the right, he did his work first and then went out. Healthy eating. I think I cut it short, but I think you all understand the gist of it. Basically, the life choices can leave you in a bad situation or leave you in a good situation. And it's all basically up to you. I do want to go fast forward to the end though. He's looking at himself like, what have I done? Small choices become actions, actions become habits, and habits become your way of life. So what will you choose? So now we're going to really break down what is really a choice. We all have decisions and choices that we make every day. And a choice is an act of selecting or making a decision with face or with two or more possibilities. It gives us the power and the freedom to choose what's right or wrong, or to go this way, to go that way. It's usually two or more possibilities, as they said. So for example, if I'm going down the highway, am I going to take this left, or am I going to take this right, or am I going to go straight? Because I know all three is going to lead me to where I want to go. That's a choice. So in life, you know, we have these extrinsic factors that can affect your choices, right? So we have all of these things that can affect your choices or have an influence on your choice, right? Obviously ourselves, because ultimately we are the keepers of our own destination. So obviously we're going to make the choice that we want to make, but sometimes it can be influenced by things that have happened to you to make you choose something maybe that you wouldn't have had that thing not happen to you. Of course, our friends, especially students, we many a times fall into peer pressure, or just to have a sense of belonging with that group of friends that we may hang out with. So we may choose something that, you know, normally if we weren't hanging out with them or not doing what they were doing, that could affect our choice. And it's not always negative. You know, you could have a friend that you look up to that's doing well in school, and you could choose to say, you know, I'm gonna put myself together. I'm gonna start working harder. I'm gonna start studying so I can try to be like my other friend. So it's definitely not always negative. Parents. I think this is probably one of the, especially with students, younger students, probably one of the most influential factors on the responsibility of choices. And, you know, you can have your parents say, okay, listen, you're not going over there. You're not going to that party. You're not going to your friend's house. You're not doing it. I think your parents just made your choice for you right there. So that's definitely one of the biggest ones. And two, with the way you're raised too, that can also affect your choices by the way that your parents was raised. If you were raised in a religious household, if you were raised in a more laissez-faire environment, you know, maybe your parents give you more independence. So that all affects definitely your environment. And that's whether you're in school, your work, your neighborhood, all of those things can affect your choices. Your emotions, of course. When we're angry, we might choose to say something that we may regret. When we're happy, we might do something that normally we wouldn't do if we was in our right mind. Like, I'm feeling good today. I'm about to give away all my TVs in the house. Like in that moment, that state of euphoria, you're like, oh, that sounds really, really good. But then after, you might be like, oh, I don't have no TV to watch no more. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. And of course, our significant others, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, or even somebody that's just really, really, really close to you. You know, they, of course, and sometimes, you know, you seek counsel with all these factors. You seek counsels on what you should choose, because you may want feedback, or you may want that person's opinion on what you should choose, because maybe sometimes you don't know really what you want, or you don't know what's the best for you, especially going back to parents. Like, You know, the saying goes, mommy knows best. So sometimes I have to call my mom like, Mom, what do you think I should do in this situation? You know, definitely your past, you know, if, you know, previously you made bad decisions in your life and you're dealing with the consequences, you know, you're not going to make those choices again. And sadly, you know, some do fall short and still make those choices. But like I said, and like this whole webinar is about, it's all about making choices that are good for you. You know, don't let these factors form your whole world. You may, like I said, you may want to seek counsel on certain things, but that doesn't mean that all of these factors have to make the choice for you, because ultimately it's your decision. It's your decision if you want to do well in school. It's your decision if you want to wake up on time and get to work on time. It's your decision if you want to do well in life. It's your decision if you want to be successful. It's your decision on what career choice you want to have. It's ultimately your decision. And the last one, your future. You know, for example, you know I want to be in the medical field, so I made the choice to major in biology when I got my undergrad. I made the choice to further my education so I could be not only, you know, someone in the healthcare field, but a medical professional. So those and if somebody who wants to be a dancer, a singer, whatever you want to be, you have to make choices that can yield you to your goal. So think of the future as like your goal. So what choices am I going to make to achieve this goal, right? So I want to talk about a little bit the difference between making a choice and a decision. So fun fact, the average person makes around 35,000 choices in one day. Now I know y'all probably like, no way, that's 35,000. That's too many choices, but it's all subconsciously. When you wake up in the morning, you choose to wake up or press that snooze button. Then you press that snooze button again and again and again. That's like 10 choices right there. Then when you finally choose to get up out of the bed, that's another choice. So it's all choices. You can literally form your life the way you want it that's powerful. You can form your life the way you want it by the choices that you make every day. That means you have 35,000 chances to make a difference. You have 35,000 opportunities to be better than you were the day before. And also on the flip side, you have 35,000 opportunities to not be the person that you're supposed to be. And we all know we're above average. And this fact is the average person makes 35,000. So a leader, like all the people that are watching this, a go-getter, entrepreneur, you probably making 50,000 choices, if not 100,000 choices. So we know that the difference between making a decision and making a choice stems from the concepts of freedom and determinism. So with freedom is the choice, right? So like I'm going to give the example that I made before. So when you wake up in the morning, that's a choice because you have your freedom to either snooze or get right back up. That's a choice. Determinism is the point of decision. So that's when someone is giving you an option. Like your mom said, you either go clean that room or not go anywhere. Okay, let me determine really what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and clean my room so I could go somewhere, right? So that's just basically telling the difference between the decision and the choice. But ultimately, it's still giving you the power to choose. And that's what the choice is. The power to choose. And to have power, you have to be strong, right? You have to be strong in your decision making. You have to be steadfast, and you have to know like what you have to do a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and I forgot the T, but it's threats. Yeah, so you have to do your SWOT analysis on your decisions. So 5 simple steps for decision making. 1, identify that you have to make a decision. When a situation arises and you have to make a decision, it is important to pause and identify that you have to decide about something. So if you're in a situation where, and this decision making process is quick. You know, say you're in a decision, you're in a situation where it's fight or flight, right? You're not going to say, okay, number one, identify the situation. Number two, no, this is quick. So as soon as you identify, okay, I need to make a choice on whether I'm going to do the right thing here or do the wrong thing. And then the step number two is think about the different choices that you have. There are many choices that you can have in any given situation. That goes back to adding more to the 35,000, right? Where you given choices, or it is up to you to come up with the choices and then decide. So you may be going to a situation blind, like, okay, I don't know what I should do. You may have to come up with the choices and choose. Then this, and if you think about it, this is kind of a SWOT analysis in itself with this whole process. Step three, create a pros and cons list. Before making a decision, make a quick T-chart. With one side labeled pros, one side labeled cons. The pros represent the ideas that favor something, and the cons represent that idea against something, right? And then, of course, try it out and then reflect. Simple. So now that we talked about choices, let's open the conversation. I'm going to bring on my colleagues here. We have Mr. Will Green, we have Mr. Phil Davis, and we have Mr. Lee Thomas. If y'all want to get on, please. I don't know, can y'all see me?
Yes, we see you.
Okay, perfect. Lee?
Yes. Hold on, I'm trying to.
Okay. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Phil Davis.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys for, joining us. And we will be reposting this as well. So that way people who might not have been able to tune in at this moment can see it. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to reenact a real situation and a choice that I myself had to make growing up. I grew up in the city of Buffalo, lived in some of the worst neighborhoods, as they like to label it as. Pretty much every neighborhood you can think of, I've either lived or some of my family members live. So, I've been exposed to, what it's like to be in the wrong place at the, wrong time type of scenario. So what we're going to do today is reenact a real life situation that I went through with a couple of family members. And just so you guys understand who's doing what, I'm not playing myself in this scenario. So, but this is a scenario based on a choice that I have to make. So after we do this little reenactment, we want to kind of give you guys a chance, if there's anybody live, can be in the chat, to kind of just let us know what kind of decision would you make. And then ultimately later on in this, we will let you know the decision that was actually made. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Brother Will Green to introduce himself, and then Brother Lee Thomas introduce himself, and then we'll get rolling.
Hey everybody, how you doing? So my name is Will Green. Currently, I serve as the Director of School and Community Partnerships for Canisius College. I'm actually a former employee. I used to tutor for academic talent search. So, I decided to join these folks in this initiative to kind of reach out to you and share some information that is vital to your development. So I hope you enjoy what we put on for you today.
My name is Lee Thomas. I'm the administrative specialist for Academic Talent Search Program. And like Mr. Will Green said, hopefully, after this reenacting, everybody will make better choices.
All right. And I realized I didn't say my title, so I just assume people know. I'm a counselor with the Canisius Academic Talent Search Program. And this has actually been now almost my 10th year with the program. Been with the program. I started off as a tutor like Mr. Green did as well. And I transitioned into a counselor over the last 5 years. So this is my 5th year of being a counselor, going into year number 6. And yes, again, a little quick plug for our program. Our program is still working with our students right now remotely. So we're always trying to make sure that we are, advocates for our students, mentors, connect them with tutors, and our program is completely free for those students that are in the Buffalo public school system. And without further ado, let's go ahead and roll right into this reenactment. I'm gonna go off until it's my time. All right.
Okay. We basically, you see the setting, we're in the park, myself and Mr. Thomas Lee, and I'm just gonna go right into character. We're gonna act this thing out. Yo, listen, man. So we gotta get in shape. We gotta work it out. You see they got the big tire over there. I think if we set something up where you push the tire 5 times, do 15 jumping jacks, 20 push-ups, run and touch the building, come back here, we time it. We could just keep doing that till, we get tired. What you think?
I'm down with that. You gonna do it at the same time? You gonna wait till I'm done?
I mean, I go first to show you what we need to do. You time me, and then you go, you time you, and then if we want to do it together after that, we good. As long as we can time it first just to see where we at.
I'm down. Let's get to work.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? We just trying to work out over here. What's up with you?
What up, bro? Yo, where you from?
Where I'm from the east side of Buffalo. This is a park on the east side. I don't even really know what that matters to the whole situation. Me and my cousin over here just trying to get a workout in.
Oh, where? Y'all trying to get a workout? Where? Well, you know what? Yo, I'm with Sick Crew. You in the wrong spot, bro. So this is how this gonna happen. Yeah, you heard me. You in the wrong spot. It's gonna happen right now. Me and my boys, this is our part. You in the wrong spot. So unless you leave right now, you gonna catch these hands, son.
Man, yo, listen, I ain't even trying to go there. I'm just trying to work out. That's it.
You gonna work out all right. You gonna get worked out with these hands, cuz.
It ain't even got to be about that. I mean, yo, who is all them people down there? What is they doing coming this way? Yo, how many people? It's like 15, 20 people. What is they doing? Yo, cuz.
Yeah, I'm here. They went home?
I don't know. I mean, but do we want to take that chance?
I mean, we was already here, dog. I took this day off. All the other parks are packed. We already set up here, man. So I'm trying to get this workout in, man. I ain't trying to leave.
Man, yeah, I understand that, and I mean, sometimes we just got to use a little logic. Like, this dude right here ain't a problem, but yo, them 20 other people is a problem.
I mean, we got to do what we got to do. I mean, I had your back since we was in the crib. So I'm like, you trying to get this workout in, or you trying to give it a different type of workout? I mean, either way, it's going to work out.
You okay? Listen, man, you ain't kind of understand it, because we working out to build our bodies up, but that workout you talk about right there, it's a possibility that we gonna catch some lumps. I don't know.
What y'all gonna do, man?
It is what it is. What you trying to do?
Whoa, chill. So at this point, you can kind of see there's a high point of tension, and we really wanted to display that situation for you. This is a true life event that happened to Brother Phil. At this point, the question is, what would you do? How are you assessing the situation? Now, I think this is a good time for us fellas to kind of discuss this and what goes into these choices. I ain't gonna lie, at some point in my life, I might have stuck around. But wisdom is a mean thing. Evaluating the situation, and where we grow up, that hyper masculine thing of you don't want to seem soft, but sometimes using this can get you out of situation. What would you fellas think?
I agree, especially like growing up in the area that we did, especially in the urban communities, when there's a lot of ego and pride that's in the way. You know, growing up in a family where you around brothers or sisters, they always teach you to man up, you know, take these punches, you know, do what you got to do, stand up for yourself, stand up for your family. So it's like when your back is against the wall and the whole hood is looking at you and they know where you from, they know who you are, they know your faces. Anything can happen, anything can spark off. So the first thing you react to is, you know, I'm not going anywhere. So I agree with that.
All right, so I'm gonna we got some people putting in some stuff in the comments here. Mr. Burton said you can get some lumps and limps. And then he also said you got to count the cost. So at the end of the day, you know, what matters more to you? Your pride at that moment, you know, somebody trying to sun you, and you know, you feel that you might be able to, you know, throw them hands, put the paws on somebody. But when you're looking up and you see this 20 cats that you've never seen before, don't know nothing about them, what happens in your brain? So, you know, I'll say for what I would do to when I tell you exactly what I did and what we did. But, you know, I want to try to see if in these comments, if we can get a couple more people's opinions on what would they do in the situation. Would they fight or flight? I see Miss Chloe pop back on. So, Chloe, what would you do?
As a lady, I'm not breaking a nail for another female. So it's gonna be a no for me. I really feel like fighting. Now I have been in fights. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, say I never fought. I have. But I think it's a different dynamic when males fight versus females. I think really males fight for it's a power struggle. You know, someone tries to be more powerful or stronger or better or whatever than another person. So it's like an intimidation thing. Females fight just for catty reasons. Oh, she looked at me this way, you know, and I think it's petty. I mean, fighting either way I feel is petty, but I think it's a different struggle with men fighting than women fighting. We fight over anything. We fight over anything. So
You know, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chloe. My bad.
So yeah, I'm beyond that. It's above me now. So I don't really look for stuff to like trigger me like that to get me to that point where I want to fight. Unless you're talking about my parents, then I won't go. You know what I mean? But other than that, I try not to especially like when you go through life, you know, things don't matter to you anymore that would have bothered you before. You know, that's just like it's minuscule, it's petty, it doesn't affect you. So once you have that mentality and you grow and mature, it's like what? So I can be recorded, so I can lose my job. Like you start really thinking about the consequences before you think about fight or flight. You really think about the result first.
And I think too, when you take that into context, you know, this happened when I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, this happened when I was like 14, 13 years old. So to be that young, you know, I haven't got to the point yet where, you know, I can constantly make those kind of calculated decisions. You know,
Right.
you know, once, especially dealing with a lot of the students that we interact with and some of the students they interact with, some of them might have that kind of wisdom to say, you know what, in this situation, I'm going to fight. And some,
Right.
I have to fight, because if I don't fight, then now I'm a punk. We're going to get around, especially now. Like when this happened, no cell phones, social media, something like this happens now, and somebody records you running. Oh man, that's a big major issue now. Oh yeah, you a punk. So now everybody is quick, even friends, which boggles my mind nowadays. They will literally watch their friend get beat up and sit there and record it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Call
then,
them friends.
right, exactly. And then say, man, you should have did this. Like something like you watching a boxing match and they the coach in the corner or something. Like, yeah. He swung off on you. You should have did this, da. Instead of you seeing me getting my brains bashed in, you're not helping. You're just a bystander, and you're recording it all at the same time. So again, we are dealing with a different time, a different generation. But one thing that hasn't changed is this mentality of taking ownership of something that really doesn't belong to you at all. Like the fact that you can say, this is my park, this is my hood, this is my neighborhood, and you literally own absolutely nothing in that vicinity, like nothing is in your name, you have no ownership of anything. If somebody decides tomorrow to come to this place or even today and demolish this, bulldoze this park, what you gonna do? You have no rights to it. But we're taught, unfortunately, and it's not just, you know, a black thing or you know, a black or brown thing, it's just period. When people grow up in poverty and they don't have anything, it's easy to teach them to say, this is yours. Whether they don't, there's no contract or anything else like that. This is your neighborhood. This is your park. This is your house. Bless you. You know, this is, so you're putting all of this mindset into them that this is really theirs, even their group. You know, this kind of leads back to when you talk about a group of kids, the gang mentality. You know, we always want to use the word gang, but this is another thing that we had talked about with this is there's a lot of gangs, you know, and there's a lot of gangs that aren't looked at the same way as the street gangs. Like politics is a gang, you know, the Democrats is a gang, Republicans are a gang, you know,
sororities, fraternities.
Everybody, anytime a group or organization who think the same way, who go through some kind of initiation process, you know, it's
Kojic is a gang.
Exactly. Any type of group of people that believe in one thing and they function a certain way, those are called gangs. But it's not the stigma behind gang is usually always used negative, you know, connotation there. So in this situation where you know, in real life, I see 15 to 20 dudes coming our way that I've never seen before. And this dude just came in my face talking about sick crew and all this other kind of stuff, throwing up all these hand signs. I'm like, okay, this ain't looking too good right now. It's me and a couple of my cousins, and it's 20 of them. So again, I had to make a decision at that point, what we're gonna do, fight or flight. Now, like I said, if I was looking at it now, to be in 13 and 14 now, it might be a different decision I would make because of social media and everything else.
Right.
Like
and that's what I was going to say. You know, our students, they have so many factors that are affecting them. And I should have put social media on that list of extrinsic factors that affects our choices, because that one, the power behind social media on students is like, it's crazy. And they will do something just so they can be either recognized on social media or it can be recorded. And in the mind of a younger kid, like you said, you was 13, 14. So in my 13 or 14-year-old mind, this is like the biggest thing in my life right now. My friends and looking good in front of them. So I'm not going to be a punk. I'm going to make sure, oh, World Star, I'm about to be on World Star. It's the clout. It's like social media is like their high. It's like their drug. And like 9 times out of 10, a kid nowadays in 13 or 14 years old in that mind, they're going to fight. They're going to. And it might not even be because they're angry. It might not even be because they want to unleash on somebody. It might not even be because they want to look cool in front of their friends. But they know that if other people see it and they're getting beat up, that's their whole world crashing down. Now they got to go to school, people bullying them and all that. I just wanted to put that.
I agree with Ms. Chloe. I agree with you, Chloe. Just to piggyback off of what you were saying, social media. A lot of our students don't think about forward thinking in these, you know, when a situation happens, because just imagine if you're trying to get a job, you know, 10 years from now, you know, that will always be on social media. That will always follow you. They don't want that type of recognition coming into their organization at all. They don't want that image coming from that person. You know, you got to explain yourself over and over and over again. What happened in the situation? Why did you make this choice? You know, how are you a different person today? That will follow you no matter what. No matter what. It will always follow you for the rest of your life. It will never be deleted off of social media.
What was you gonna say, Will?
So it's like, man, there's so much to discuss here. So much to discuss. But a few things that's going on. Number one, as teenagers, your brain doesn't fully develop. The portion of your brain that deals with decision making isn't fully developed until you're 25 years old. Your frontal cortex, your prefrontal cortex. So as teenagers, you basically designed to make bad decisions.
Mhm.
Period. That's what it is. That's what it is. What we encouraging you to do is to be more thoughtful, and that requires a lot of work. That requires a lot of work to go against really what is your natural conditioning as a teenager. And in the world we live in, and you see everything that's going on right now, it's absolutely necessary for you guys to strengthen those skills, to put in that pre-thought before you even arrive at a situation. And that's asking you a lot. I think also the power dynamic. I think Phil, you mentioned it. Chloe, I heard you mention it. When you don't have power, the way you view power in the world around you, you start to seize power and take power in any situation you can. So for the young man at this park, man, this is a huge thing for him, because what other opportunities does he have to flex power, to show power? And in relation, we could say power means, or ownership of power means, we are valuable to the world. And then I think that's a great way to get into this whole idea of gangs or groups of people who come together. That's about power as well. You identify with a certain group of people and you join on a common mission. You talked about church. You talked about the political parties and fraternities and sororities. At the base level, the reasons why they come together is very similar to why this young man and these other people in his community come together, so that they can achieve power collectively and they have a self-identity. The issue with what we call quote unquote gangs is, what are you doing to flex your power? Are you corrupting your community? Because if you look at fraternities, sororities, and all these other organizations that come together for a need of having power, their mission is different.
Right.
I would love for our community, young folks in the community, keep those connections, keep those quote unquote gangs together, but change your mission. Change your mission. Work together to improve your community. Work together. If you come across some folks that don't belong in your neighborhood, definitely get an understanding why they're there, but see if you got a common goal to bring it all together to expand your community.
Right.
And these are a lot of things to ask of young people that are difficult. But history has proven to us, nobody makes a movement yet like young people. We need you to understand and work daily on these things so that we can change this situation for all of us.
I agree with that. I mean, we think about most of the like civil rights movements and stuff, the sit-ins and stuff like that. Most of those people that were taking a part of that were young people, and we have now, because in my opinion, there's so much warping of the young minds now. It's like you force the young people to believe they have all of this power as a young person. You keep telling them you can do whatever you want, whatever decisions you want to make. And then, but then in the same breath, when they make decisions, reality hits them in the face. Like if I can sit here and tell a student, if a teacher, especially if they're being taught at home, if a teacher or an adult or anybody disrespects you, you got the right to handle it like an adult. If I'm teaching my child that, so now when my child gets into a situation now I want to call the news and everything else for how my kid reacted when I'm putting this stuff in their head. So back to with the gang mentality, I had a friend years ago who joined a gang and was, proud about it, talked about how he got initiated, all that kind of stuff. And, and I kept asking him, I said, okay, so what are you getting out of the gang now that you're part of the gang? At the time, he was still living at home with his mom, didn't have a job. So I asked him, I said, so what are you getting out of it? And he couldn't really answer that question for me. And then he was just like, well, I got my peoples, they take care of me. I said, how? Like, what are they doing to take care of you? We hang together. I said, okay, cool. Y'all hang together. Good. You need that. But what are they doing now? Like at this time, he was almost 23. I said, okay, you're in a gang. You're almost 23. You're still living at home with moms. You don't have a job. Are they helping you connect to getting a job? Are they helping you connect to getting some housing? Are they helping you connect to anything that's going to take you further than where you are right now? And he couldn't answer that. And he started to get frustrated because You know, and I'm a person, I tell people all day long, some of the choices I've made in my own life, we all make choices that might have been the right choice, it might have been the wrong choice. That's the power of a choice. You know, let's go back to what Chloe talked about, the difference between choice and decision. You know, that's powerful. Like, I never even thought about that until you brought that up. You know, to be able to have the privilege, you know, and we're seeing this now with everything that's happening to us as Black people, you know, and especially Black men right now. You know, what's happening to Black men and what's been happening. And it's always two sides of it where, and I'm kind of going off the subject, but we're going to come right back to it, where, yes, Black on Black crime is terrible. To me, is bad. I can't sit here and say I can excuse my people killing each other and at the same breath get mad when the cops do it. What I do understand, though, is that every decision that we make as a people, when we're always hating on each other, when we're fighting with each other, when we always cussing each other out, when we brag about how we cuss somebody out, when we brag about everything that we do negative and our kids see it, why in the world would we think our kids are going to choose better when they're seeing the decisions we make as adults? So as an adult, most of the gangs aren't being run by young people. They're being run by adults.
Right.
And their runners do everything. So now you have older people that should have been wise enough now to say, you know what? I did this when I was young. I don't want the same thing for you. But no, because it's still, they never grew up. We have some 40, 50, 30-year-old kids still. You have people that will never grow out of the mentality that's been destroying not only them, but their community because they choose not to think better. See, they have the power to choose, just like in this situation. Anytime gangs approach you, anytime kids want to fight with you, you do have the choice to look like a punk to somebody and then have to worry about the repercussions of that. Or you have the choice to go ahead and fight somebody and you might get your brains beat out. You might die. You might not make it out of there. You know, all those things as a young person in this day and age, to have to even, the concept of having even think about that. For me to have an 8-year-old and 4-year-old boy that I have to explain to them why all these people are mad, you know, breaking up this and throwing stuff at that because they killed somebody that looks like your dad, that looks like you. You know, for them to grow up at 8 and 4 to not really understand that stuff, but they have to be exposed to it so young that now they don't have the capabilities in their mind to understand what's really going on. And I think that's just across the board. There's a lot of things that we as adults try to put in our kids' heads at a young age that they're not ready for. And then when they make these decisions, now we want to come at them and say, you ain't grown. Well, you just told me I was grown. You told me at 14 I was the man of the house. So now when I'm 16 out here acting like the man of the house, how did that change? So now you were confusing these kids. So I did a lot of talking, and I always do that.
Oh, that's good. It's
So
good.
I'm gonna let my other folks get a word in because then we got 6 minutes left. I want to explain exactly what decision I made, and then we can wrap everything up.
I just want to say too, the definition of power is to impose your will on someone and them accept it as theirs. So when I talked about those list of extrinsic factors that affect how people make decisions and how people make choices, those are all sources of power. And anything can influence a child. So just how you said your friend joined the gang, I really think it comes back to, and that's why I said it was one of the most important ones, the parents. If I raise my child in a situation where they're heard, they're listened to, and they're taken care of, and I also have invested in their choices in life, 9 times out of 10, they're going to choose that right path. But if I neglect them, if I put responsibilities on them that they shouldn't have as a 13, 14-year-old, if I treat them like my friend instead of my child, if I don't invest in their education, don't check up on their grades, don't really care, never at their events, never supporting them, of course they're going to look for another, they have a void. So of course they're going to look for another outlet to say, okay, I want to be, that's all it is. They want to be accepted and they want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
So they choose something that may be negative, but that's what appealed to them. That's what got them. They might hit them up like, yo, you hang with me, you gonna be good. I'm gonna take care of you. That child may have never heard that their entire life.
Mm-hmm.
May have heard, oh, you a no beat, you a nobody. How dare you? You think you grown? Get the F out my house. I've seen a 6-year-old kid get clean cussed out. He's 6. Why are you cussing? Talking about it's like, yo, no good, daddy. Like, it creates a mindset that they are no good in their parents' eyes, that there'll never be anything. So why would I want to make a decision that my parent might know that's good for me, but because I have been conditioned and hearing all those negative connotations my whole life, whatever you say is going in one ear and out the other. I'm going to do the opposite of whatever you say because you did not water me when I was thirsty for attention. I was thirsty for love. I was thirsty just for you to be my parent and care. Parents don't care nowadays. And of course, it's not all parents. Shout out to the ones that, are doing the best that they can.
I wanted to, I have to always kind of take the view of being an advocate for everyone. So what I want to say is, even in my experience, there are children who have received all those things from parents and received that type of guidance and received that type of love and have gone in a completely different direction. Mm-hmm. It's a way more complicated issue than just getting this or not getting that, and you'll end up here. There are societal factors, specifically when we talk about Black people in America and what it means to be Black and what it means to really feel like a part of this country or a part of society. So it can go either way. And I mean, this is about choices. I think it's very important to note, you can pour into children, you can pour into adults, and you can give them the love that they need, and you can give them access to resources. But at the end of the day, it's going to be an individual choice to take these successive steps to get to where you think you should be going.
Yeah, of course.
It's way more complicated than a bad parent equals a bad kid,
No, I'm not saying that, but I was talking about the factors. That's a huge factor on a kid making a decision. And yeah, you're right. It's not always just 1 + 1 = 2, but it's more likely for a kid that has been, given the tools and the attention and the love and the support versus a kid that got none of that. That's the point. But at the end of the day, it is up to that individual person to make a decision, of course.
Mm-hmm. And as a parent, I was lucky to have mentors in my life at a certain time. And I think one statement that just really made an impact for me was, you don't want to be the excuse for your child going this direction. So it wasn't that, oh yeah, you're going to do all these things, your kid's going to turn out perfect. But you don't ever want to be the parent to say, man, oh, if I had done this, then they wouldn't have.
Right.
Like, my auntie used to say, kids are like arrows. You pull them back and you point them in the direction you want them to go. But once you let it go, wind can change it. Make the arrow just a little off. It's a little curve. It's going to go in a different direction. But the foundation is you putting in that work and that effort to try to get them in the right direction. Because there's tons of parents out there, man, that's giving they all. And, the kids just get lost. But that kind of goes into that. It's natural for teenagers to rebel and start to go in a different direction. That's how we get change in society. It's natural. I guess the issue is when we make a mistake, people who look like us, it's usually compounded. Like, oh, mistake for us could be, man, that one mistake you made out of the 99 other things you did, that one mistake got you jammed up good,
You know, it's funny too because obviously I'm a believer, a firm believer in God, and from a spiritual perspective, God is all our Father. So when you look at God as being all of our Father, that means He's the best parent you could compare it to, and we
Right.
still, as individuals, decide what we're going to do for our lives. And I think that the fact that
That's a good point.
the ability to choose is, again, one of the most powerful things. That's what makes us different than any other animal in this world, is the fact that we have the freedom of choice to decide
Free will.
what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And I think that to move on to how the story ended, when I saw them kids coming, and I was like, okay, it was me and two of my cousins. One of my cousins definitely wasn't trying to fight. He was hiding somewhere. My other cousin was ready to throw them hands. I was like, nah, dude, like, this don't look good. I think we're gonna get jumped out here. I don't know if they got something. I don't know if they got guns, they got knives. And the ironic part about it, and this is what really made me believe that we should run. The guy that approached me had a cast on his arm. So I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm like, this dude got a cast on his arm. I'm really about to work this dude over. Like, dude, you got a cast on your arm. What do you expect you're gonna do to me? But I'm like, for him to come over with a cast on his arm,
He was confident.
back up somewhere. And then that's when I seen all those kids. So I was like, yo, cuz, let's get up out of here. We left the park. We was mad about it. We was upset. We talked about it. We talked to our uncle about it. Our uncle was like, we should have fought them, and this is the age we grew up in. And it was like, so we had that in our spirit for a while. And as I got older, I'm like, man, you never know what could have happened. Like, even though we took that L that day, I'm sure him and probably the rest of him, if he didn't change his mindset, he probably taking an L right now. He might not even be alive right now. You know what I mean?
And you could have saved your life.
Exactly. So I look at that as a blessing in disguise. And, so I hope that, and this was great, man. We got some people actually started tuning in and, commenting and whatnot. And I really think that this is a conversation, again, that can keep continuing, but definitely got to continue with this generation, man. It's got to continue with these young people. And again, it goes back, like you said, Chloe, I'm a firm believer parents have a lot to do with what their kids are exposed to. They might not have a lot to do with their kids' choices, but they have a lot to do with what their kids are exposed to. And as a parent myself, I tell all my students, I was exposed to a lot of things that my mother didn't even know I was exposed to at a young age. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when you're not under your parents' eye, there's things you're going to get involved in that your parents, no matter how great a parent they are, how much of an advocate for you they are, they don't know what you're doing when they're not around. And so at the end of the day, the foundation is, what are you instilling in your kid? Let them know, yes, it's okay, you're going to make mistakes. But I tell my kids, I don't believe in mistakes. I believe in choices that have consequences that you didn't want.
Yeah.
Every decision you make is a choice, it's a decision. It's not a mistake, because you can't, if you let people say, oh, it was a mistake, it's a mistake, mentally they feel they can take that
right. Makes them feel better.
Like, I had no control over that. Over everything. Once you reach a certain age, unless something is actually happening to you that you have no control over, once you reach a certain age, you have control over everything you do. And period. Every choice you make. You decide you want to go to this party and you might not know everybody there. That's a choice you made. You decide you don't want to go to school today because your friends are skipping. That's a choice you made. You decide they gave you an out, and I'm saying this to some of my seniors out here. They gave you out. You had 7 exams to pass to graduate. And now you don't have to worry about no exams and you still dragging on your work. That's your fault if you don't graduate.
Yeah, that's your choice.
Out. You were given an out. So in life, as we're giving the options and the opportunities to live, because that's the one thing, we all gonna die one day, but it's the worst thing ever is to be born just to think about when your day of death is, when you don't live. If all you did was exist, that's another choice you make too. Live your life to the fullest. Listen, if your family structure, if your environment at home is not good for you, find a way to get some mentors, Find a way to get some encouragement. Find a way to get around people that can invest into you. Think about everything you do, every choice you make. One of my friends, me and him had a conversation a while back just about the importance of investing in ourselves. I look at everything now, after that conversation I had with him, I look at everything as an investment. Every choice I make, is it bringing me something good or bringing me something bad? And if we think about that and we can look at the after effects of what decisions we make, I think we'll be good. That's enough for me. And now I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all finish up.
I just want to.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we didn't really need to do the rest because you kind of explained it. And I got to jump on another conference call. I just wanted to make one final point, and I think it kind of wraps it all up. If you look at this situation, what you were able to, this is almost like each of you and your friends represent a different way to analyze things, right? I think you used your brain, your friends was using emotion, and your friends represented, or your cousin represented, one represented the fight emotion and one represented the flight emotion. And those are all responses based on feelings. Mm-hmm. You looked at the situation and assessed it like, oh, he got a cast on his hand. We could do him. Oh, but we can't take care of all these other folks. Wait a minute. So you analyzing the situation. That's what we got to encourage the young people to do and hope that they are able to do. Be in that situation and keep that, what they say, keep your third eye open. You know, use the mind to analyze the situation and have these internal conversations with yourself about what's the best move to make. You know, I appreciate y'all bringing me in on this. I hate that I got to leave early, but I'll continue to check back at this post and see if young people want to respond. And certainly if somebody wanted to get in contact with me, I'm available. But I thank you guys for having me on. But now I got to jump to the next part of my day. Good work.
All right, I just want to leave with this last little bit. If you think it's wrong, don't do it. If you know it's wrong, don't do it. If you see positivity, if you see light, go with that. If you can't do it on heaven, don't do it on earth. My dad said all the time. And it's really, and he says, if you live by that, you'll be fine. And it's true. So many times we think, oh man, I know this is wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like, it's just that, why? But why? You know? But if we live by that and we breathe by that, we'll be fine.
I believe that. Go ahead, Chloe. Brother Lee, anything, sir?
Yes, sir. I agree with Chloe. It's a similar thing that I say to my mentees too. I always tell them, I said, vision will choose your friends. Vision will choose how you spend your time and money. And vision will choose your environment. So it's very similar. So I agree with everything that Chloe just said. Basically, yeah, man, because it's like I told Mr. Phil, if that choice that he made, his friend could have died along with him. Mm-hmm. So if he didn't decide,
a couple of lives.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the choices you make, just it doesn't affect you. It's a domino effect. It affects everybody in your outside of your circle. It affects your mom, your cousin. You just know who can affect. I know people that got into fights and they lost their best friend, they lost their cousin because there was, that ego, that pride was in the way. Sometimes turn the other cheek doesn't mean you weak. Right. Sometimes in certain situations actually mean that you have more strength than the other person. So right. That's true. Walking away. So I ended on that note.
Well, I just want to thank everybody that has tuned in. And we will leave this up on our page, CC Academic Talent Search on Facebook. You can also email us at ccacademictalentsearch@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions on what you want to hear from us next, we will continue in this webinar series until we can't continue no more. So if you have any suggestions, you can even DM us on Facebook or email us. Page, let your kids see it, let your students see it, and
follow us on Instagram too.
Oh yes, follow us on Instagram at what's our Instagram?
CCATS 2017. We do a lot of stuff for our students on there. So if you have some kids that are either in the program or in the Buffalo Public School System that you're interested in finding out more information about our program, just have them follow us on Instagram, CCATS2017.
All right. And with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in. Until next
Have a good
time.
one.